You can be world champion, multiple world champion. You can be European champion many times. Won the different competitions and have a lot of gold on your wall at home. But if you don't have any followers on social media, we'll get to that later. You're not going to get a sponsorship. You have athletes on Instagram, on Facebook, they've never competed in their life. And they're living off sponsorships because they have 1 million followers. You have people getting paid up to $9,000 per post on Instagram. Per post. That's a lot of money. Even $500 per post. So a company may approach you and say, I'll pay you $500 for one post a week. That's $2,000 a month. But you have to have followers. It's cheaper for them to pay you $2,000 a month and your posts get out to 1 million people. So that's the thing we'll talk about. Another thing is, use your connections. If you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, don't be afraid and go and tell them, hey, I know you know this guy. Could you give him this, or could you set up a meeting, or could you ask him if I can come talk to him and stuff? I use all the connections you have. There's no such thing as a self-made man. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger says that. He's not self-made. He had help getting to where he is today. Everybody does. So don't be scared. I mean, if you're scared to ask, or too humid, too humble, or shy, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to reach out. You have to say, hey, I know you know this guy. If you have somebody in your network that you can see, oh, this guy knows this guy, or he's working there, reach out. Tell them, hey, listen, blah, 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 blah. Can you make the connection? And that way you pass a lot of hindrances. If you don't know anybody, it's really, really hard to get to talk to these people. If you know somebody who knows the boss of a supplement company, and he calls you and says, hey, I have this guy, can you have 5 minutes to talk to this guy? Then it's up to you to sell yourself. That's the mission. Another thing you have to remember, the fitness industry, even though we think it's the whole world, it's a very small niche. It's not huge. It may seem as though we have millions and millions of people following us all around the world, all we do, but in the whole scheme of things, it's very small. So when you seek out sponsorships, don't only go for people in the fitness industry. Talk to restaurants, talk to clothing companies that maybe not fitness clothing, talk to travel agencies, talk to car rentals, whatever, that may feel that what you represent or how you carry yourself would be a good way for them to advertise the brand. So don't narrow yourself down to only thinking about sponsors within the fitness world, fitness clothing, fitness supplements, stuff like that. So expand your view on things and try to connect with other people. I know restaurants, sushi restaurants who are sponsoring athletes. I know car companies that are leasing companies who are sponsoring athletes. They may not sponsor you with money, but hell, if you can go have 5 sushi meals a month for free because you have their name on the shirt, that's saving you money that you can use on your sport, right? Same thing with the car. I have a friend of mine, she used to compete, now she has something called the Protein Kitchen. She started with writing a book, now you can buy her products in fresh food and gas stations everywhere in Denmark and stuff like that. She has a leasing company, give her a brand new car to drive around in with her name on it, sponsored by the leasing company's name. And it has nothing to do with it. What she represents is good for them, so they think this is a good way for us to get out there. So expand your horizons a little bit and don't only think about fitness. We're going to go to social media that I mentioned real quick. Social media. That's where it's all happening right now. In Denmark alone, it's how much is that in euros? That's about, I think it's a 15 billion euro business in Denmark alone. That companies are paying people on social media to advertise their companies. The companies are probably saving 100 billion by doing that, 100 million, whatever it is. But they're saving money because If they're paying somebody like let's say, like I said, for 10,000 euros or 1,000 euros a month to post one post a month, one post a week, they're reaching 1 million viewers for that. If they should put that in print in a magazine or a TV ad, that's going to cost them a lot more. So the cost benefit for them is a lot bigger. But they're not going to give you that if you have 20,000 followers. They don't care about that. That's not going to do anything for them. So you have to develop it. So the followers are really important. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, they keep changing the algorithms. So if you go back 2 or 3 years, it's a lot easier. You could go from 10,000 followers to 60,000 followers in a month if you did it right. You can't do that anymore. It's really, really hard. So if you keep it a little bit private, you have a private one which is closed down only for your closest friends and family, and then have one which is public, that's going to safeguard you as well. So keep those, I'd keep those separate. Of course, you can post a few personal stuff on the public accounts, but I would be careful about it. What you also see sometimes, if you go on Instagram, if you have a fitness athlete who's competing, who puts up a picture of him or her with their respective boyfriend, girlfriend, the likes on that post are not very high, sadly. But if you have one where he or she is there alone, it's a lot higher. And it's a pity, because if you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you'd like to show the world that this is the person that I care about. But that's just not how it works. They don't care. Some do, but it's not going to give you likes. So make sure you don't do that too often. Keep that private. Another thing that can cost you followers is if you post one post after another with you standing with this product, and then you're standing with this product, and then you're standing with the third product, people are going to unfollow you. They don't want to watch that. That would be like when you're watching a movie on TV and the commercials come on. You usually just switch the channels and the commercials are over. That's what people are going to do to you if you do that. So how do you advertise your sponsor's products in your post without it being so obvious, like you're just standing there and I'm eating this, I'm drinking this? Have the protein powders boxes stand on the kitchen table while you're mixing your protein shake out on the side. When you're at the gym and you're doing seated rows, you have your shaker with the BCA standing next to you, so that you have some kind of activity. Same thing in the video, you know. If you're sponsored by Nocco, for example, then you can go do your set of biceps, and then you go grab the Nocco and you drink it while you're filming, you put it down. That's how you can do it, where you kind of hide it. So people are getting a story, or whatever you want to call it, and not feeling like they're watching an advertisement. So you have to be smart about that, because it will actually cost you followers if you do that. And that's a thin line to walk, because your sponsors they want you to put the products out. So you have to be smart. Another thing that you see on Instagram, and especially Instagram, not as much Facebook anymore, but sometimes it's fun to look at, sometimes it gets a bit too much, and that's what I call the TNA pictures. Tits and ass. Okay? There's a very thin line between doing that in a classy way, where people think that's really beautiful, and between it's trashy, now it's borderline porn. And you actually have, I know for a fact, my ex-girlfriend was sponsored by Limit. They specifically, in the contract, pointed out that they do not want this kind of pictures on Instagram and stuff like that with their products. They don't want to. That's not what they want to be associated with. Can you do it? Of course. I mean, as a girl in the fitness industry, bikini girl, body fitness, whatever, it does give you followers showing skin. But the way you do it it's a very narrow line to walk. You have to be very careful, because if you once you step over that line, people are going to see you in a different light. Okay, so be careful what you're portraying out there when you do that. It's fine to do it, but do it in a classy way, so that it's not misunderstood or misread or seen as something else that it isn't. Because once you get that label, it's really, really hard to get rid of it. It's a little easier for the guys. I mean, it's harder for us to look sexy in the pictures than it is for the women. So it's a little bit harder, but it's the same thing. Just be careful what you portray. Portray the health thing, the fitness thing, that's fine, but make sure you don't cross over so that all of a sudden you're portraying something else. That you're insinuating things in your pictures. Some people may think it's sexy, a lot of people think it's too much, and they're going to back off. Politics. Well, there you go. Politics is another thing. Everybody has an opinion about everything. And if you feel the need to voice that opinion, do it on your private accounts. Don't do it where your fans are watching, where your sponsors are watching and stuff like that, because they may not agree with you. And if they don't agree with you, they're going to unfollow you. If the sponsor doesn't agree with you, he will cancel your contract. So be very careful. If you disagree, don't get into the argument. You understand what I'm saying? Otherwise you're going to step people on their toes, and they're not going to like you. They maybe even spread rumors and stuff like that, so the stories will build up. But politics is something, keep that away from your public accounts so that you don't alienate potential followers or alienate those who are already following. Now, what do people want to see? Of course, they want to see some skin, like I said before. But they want to know. They want to see everyday life things. They want to see that you're ugly when you wake up in the morning. They want you to see you tired, brushing your teeth. They want to see you shopping for groceries at the grocery store. It's the kind of, they want to identify with you. So make sure you do stuff and show stuff that everyday people do as well. Because they identify with, oh, well, she looks so beautiful in all the pictures, but she can look tired too. Oh, that's how she looks without makeup. Well, she's still beautiful. So make sure that you portray yourself as not only a fitness athlete, but that you're a person just like you and me. That way you will connect and be more approachable. You're not going to be something that's out of reach. You're going to be like them. You're going to they'll identify with you, with the things you do. Same thing you see here, for example, that's with the product there. I mean, do something. Don't just be there and it's the product that's in the center of the focus. People will notice the product, but you be the story of the picture. Your behavior. If you've been in the fitness industry for a long time, not even a long time, maybe for a few years and stuff, but you've met that kind of person. You've met the bikini athlete who thinks she's the gift of God to everybody. Same thing with the bodybuilders. There's always going to be somebody who goes a little bit overboard on their ego and their self-confidence. So it's very important that you watch out about how you behave. So what I'm trying to say is don't be an ass. Don't think you're the best things in sliced bread, because you're not. And again, the fitness world is very, very small. Okay, there's money to be made there, but the big money is made in the world outside. So if you alienate them by the way you act, you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out on sponsors that may sponsor with a car or with food or with money or whatever that's outside the fitness world. So that's really important that you watch out how you do that. I was I think that was the Arnolds a couple years ago. There was a French athlete sponsored by Olymp, and he's at the booth. And at one point, there's a girl that comes there, a fan, and he's surrounded by people. And she waits and she waits, and the crowd doesn't get any smaller. So she talks to another athlete and says, well, he's going to be here all day. Yeah, well, why don't you come back later? So she goes off, she comes back later, and then he's behind, inside the booth, behind, eating his lunch. And so she goes ask that girl that she talked to, hey, is he here? And she goes, yes, hold on, I'll go get him. He's right backstage. So she goes out there and says, hey, there's this girl, she's a huge fan, she was here earlier, she was waiting for you, and I told her to come back, so she's back. Forget about our meeting. So she had to go out and tell that girl that, sorry, he's so she had to leave. Now, how many people do you think she's going to tell that story? Did she have a good experience? No, she didn't. Maybe that was the one thing that she wanted the most, was to have a picture taken with him. That's why she came to the Arnold Classic Expo. And because he was eating and that he couldn't put down the fork for 30 seconds, go out there and talk to her for a couple minutes, have some pictures taken, send her off happy, go back and eat his food. That's attitude. That's a really, really bad attitude. Another story I can tell you was, I was in Vegas many years ago for the Olympia, and we were out for dinner, and at the table next to us, there was one of the Olympia competitors. And they just arrived. They hadn't ordered the food. They weren't eating or anything. So some of the girls that were with us at our table were, oh, that's so and so. Go over there, get his autograph, or have your selfie taken. And so they go over there, and he's just sitting there with his mobile phone. And they go, can we have our pictures taken? No, well, I'm out for dinner. You've got to remember, the sport is not going to pay for you. The sport is not going to give you money or earn you money. The fans are going to earn you money. The more popular you are, the more followers you are, the more fans you have, the more positive sponsorships you're going to get. So the fans are really important. Without the fans, there's no sport. We're not here. We don't get the prints in the magazines. Nobody buys the magazines. So remember that. Be kind. I don't care if you're tired or hungry or feet hurting because you're wearing high heels or whatever. Be kind. Whenever somebody comes up to you, be kind. Smile. Talk to them. Ask questions. Make sure that even though you're at an expo where there's thousands of people, make sure that that person that's talking to you right now, make them feel like they're the most special fan of them all. It takes you 30 seconds. That's why you're there. That's why your sponsor paid for your flight, your food, and is paying you your fee for being there. So be nice. Always smile. You don't have to show your teeth all the time, like a Colgate commercial or something like that, but smile. Be positive. Be open. Look approachable. And be polite. You know, if it's an older gentleman or older woman coming over to you and talk, be polite. Talk to people in the correct way. Don't swear. It's the small stuff. Be polite. It gives a completely different impression of you. And it's going to be an impression that people are going to remember and take with them and tell their friends about it, their family. They're also going to tell their friends and family if you're being an ass. And then you have 20 people you have to convince that you really aren't, you just had a bad day. So there's no bad day. You can have the bad day at home. So that's another part of being even an amateur athlete at an expo, at being sponsored like that. You have to be polite, smile, and be positive. Dress accordingly. You go to the expo, it's fine with the training and the tank tops and the shorts and the bikinis and stuff like that. Dress accordingly. If you go there, that's fine. If you have a seminar at a gym or somewhere, wear a sweats and a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or something that tones you down a little bit. Don't have the seminar in hot pants and a top if you're a girl, or a shorts and a string top or something, if you're a guy. And if you're out for if you go to dinner, if you go to meetings with sponsors and stuff like that, dress nice. If you have a suit, wear it. If you have a nice dress, wear it. So make sure, even though you're an athlete, I mean, if you're a 120 kilo bodybuilder, people are going to notice and see that you're huge regardless if you're wearing a tight t-shirt and tight shorts, or if you're wearing a suit. You're still going to look huge. But the difference is, if you're there in tights and a string top, you're a musclehead. If you're there in a suit, well, maybe he's more than this muscle. Same thing with the girls with the dresses and stuff. It's good. It's nice to dress sexy, but it all depends. If you're out with a boyfriend, fine, be real sexy. If you go to a meeting with somebody, tone it down a little bit. Don't be the breasts coming with the girl. Be the girl coming with the breasts if you understand that analogy. Okay. It makes you look more serious. People will take you more serious. Okay. At the fitness expo, it's fine because that's what people come to see. They want to see your physique. They want to have you wear this kind of stuff because that's what they like. They want to see your body, right? But if you go to meetings and dinners and stuff like that are official, dress nice. And also, when you're out, this mostly happens where you're out for dinner or you're at a bar or something like that. People come up and, they like to talk. And I've had this experience myself when I was 130 kilos, small t-shirts and stuff like that. I've done everything, so I know what it's like. But I've had people come up to me and say, and look at me and talk to me and look me straight in the eye and says, I don't like the way you look. It looks terrible. And how do we usually react when somebody says that to us? We get pissed off, right? Our first reaction would be, fuck you. Seriously, that's the reaction was. I would react, I'd go, well, I can understand that. We are a bit extreme and stuff like that, but this is my sport, I like it and stuff like that. And then I started telling them why I did it. So I started telling them the story. And usually, 9 out of 10 times by the end of that conversation, they would have a completely different outlook. They may not still like the way I looked, but they had an understanding for what it was. And all of a sudden, it wasn't that big, scary, ugly thing anymore. So, whenever somebody says something or does something which you feel disrespects you, take the high road. If it's a person that you can't talk to, just say, well, that's fine, and then walk off. If it's somebody that you feel like they want to engage in conversation, try to explain. Of course, if they continue to being personal, there's no use. If they're not listening to what you're saying, there's no use to carry on the conversation. Just leave. So most of the times when you experience something that's uncomfortable or that you feel is disrespectful, it's usually because they're ignorant. They have no clue. They only have what the press tells them or what they see here on TV or what their friends say. How many of you have been at a private party where you don't know anybody? And again, story from my own life. I had a friend's birthday party. I didn't know anybody, but he invited me anyway. These people were lawyers and real estate agents and stuff like that. Just standing, I'm wearing jeans and a shirt. Of course, I'm still a heavy guy, but first part of the evening, nobody talked to me. He did. And at one point, he's talking to me, and then somebody he knows comes over to me and starts a conversation. So we start talking about, we talk about the sport, and then we start talking about something else, and then we talk about something completely different again. And then within 20, 30 minutes, the person goes, wow, you're nothing like I thought you would be. I'm like, well, what did you think I would be? So people have this prejudice look on you because you look different. Because we've all heard about the violent bodybuilder or the bodybuilder who's screaming at his girlfriend or slapping her around or being an ass or being rude or yelling fuck you and flipping people off and stuff like that. We've all heard those stories. So that's what people think we are. That's the picture that they have of us. Why play into that? Why confirm that? Why not try to change that? It takes one person to be different, where they start to second guess, well, maybe they're not all like that. And no, we're not. Every single group in the world has bad apples. Don't be one of them. Make sure that the fans are the middle of your attention. Make sure that you approach them. A lot of people bring their kids, you know. Don't be scared to interact with the kids. You know, small kids will stand there looking at the big bodybuilder. He looks like a superhero. Get down on one knee and, hey, buddy, how's it going? And then maybe poke in your arm and flex for him. Then he's going to walk out of there and all of a sudden you're his hero. You're the one. That's what I want to be. Somebody comes up in a wheelchair, do the same thing. Don't be scared to interact with people. Don't be scared because people are handicapped or look different or whatever it is. Treat everybody the same. I don't care. People may look weird, they may smell, they may, I don't know. Treat everybody the same. Because it's the small things that sends people off with a great experience. That's what they will remember you for. Oh, wow, you know, I've been watching this guy for ages, you know, stuff, and I walked up to him and he asked him, you know, about my training he had, you know, they remember. So make sure you interact that way. Again, like I said before, it's the fans that determine whether you have success or not. Without the fans, you might as well just stay at home and play chess. So make sure that the interaction you have with the fans really is good. Don't ever say no to selfies. If you guys ever go to anybody, when I went to the Olympia in Vegas one time, people will stop you on the street. People will come to your table during dinner and ask, hey, can we have a picture with you? Take that picture. It's an experience for you as well. It boosts your self-confidence. You may be a nobody, but hey, you know, it's worked out, that's a lot of hard work. Can I have a, yeah, of course. Go to if you have a sponsor and you go to the expos, usually they'll produce and print pictures and stuff like that you can give them. If you don't, it's a really good investment to have this made for you and bring out and give it away. Don't charge people for their autograph on a piece of paper. That's part of the expense that you have to have. It will pay back. It will pay itself back tenfold. You got to remember that. So have freebies that you can give away, signs. You know, sign the pictures. And here you go. You know, a lot of the professionals that charge money for it, I think it's stupid. Some people. I was at FIBA one year, and they charged pictures if I was for selfies. Oh, you want a selfie with me? That's $10. What? Give it to them. It's a good investment in you as a brand. Again, it's two pros in a league that we're no longer associated with, but the stories are really good. Jay Cutler was at an expo, sitting there, and they usually just, I mean, people stand in line for a long time to go and say hi to him. And there's a boy with an arm broken in a cast, and so he's talking to this guy, and he's signing his own, he took a cap, signed it for him, here you go, signed his cast. 2 years later, that same boy comes up to Jay Cutler at his booth without the arm in the cast. And the first thing Jay Cutler says is, I can't remember, I don't know his name, but, hi Mike, how's your arm doing? 2 years after. How do you think that kid's gonna feel? You know, that's amazing. There's a lot of stories out there about Phil Heath. That Phil Heath is an arrogant ass and stuff like that. Let me tell you how arrogant he is. He was in China, I think, doing some kind of seminar, and he flew back. He was going to go to I think it was the Pittsburgh Pro or something like that, as a guest poster and have seminars and stuff like that. And he was delayed. So he'd been traveling nonstop for 26 or 27 hours when he arrived late at the expo. And tons of people waiting for him. So he sat down and he started signing the autographs and talking to people and stuff. And then the promoter had a cutoff time. Let's say it was 10 p.m. So he comes up to Phil, say, we're done for the day. And Phil goes, no, I'm not done until the last person in line that I've said hi to. So he stayed there until everybody had had their turn, and then he left. So sometimes you have to, sometimes you have to think twice about the stories you hear about people. Everybody has a bad day. And that's why I say, if you have that bad day, everybody knows about it. If you have a good day, nobody knows. But they remember the bad day. So always, regardless if you're tired, if you want to go home, just do that one person more. Business cards is a good thing as well. But have 2 sets of cards. If you have a website and stuff like that, give that card to your fans. When you sign the picture, here you go, here's my card, here's my email and my web address from our website. If you have a public Twitter account, Instagram account, or Facebook account, use that, put that on there. And then have a second one for the ones with your personal information that you give out to possible sponsors. Another good investment. You can even get business cards that have a chip in there, so you hold it, or a code, and you stick it in front of your phone, and it will take them automatically to your website. So it's really, really good investment. So that kind of thing, when you interact with people, make sure you have thought out how you want to do it so that you get the most out of it. Right now, with the League Pro starting up this first year, you have the most opportunities ever in history to create something for you. If you become a pro now, and you're a good pro, you have the chance to become legendary. You're the first pro, you're the first good pro. Think about the generations coming up, wanting to be pro, looking at you right now, because this is how are you? This is where you want to go. These are the professionals right now. So if you develop yourself as a brand, as a good person, you get out there, you get in touch with people, give everybody a good experience. That's going to come back to you tenfold. So don't be scared putting yourself out there. Don't be scared showing a little bit about who you are, but don't go too deep, That's private. Same thing with the Instagram and stuff like that. Don't put too private stuff on there. So be humble. Even though you're the champion of everything, be humble. Don't think that your God gives to humanity, because you're not. Nobody is. Be humble. If you're humble, you're approachable, people will come to you. If you see somebody who's maybe a little shy and you can see they don't really go with, hey, how you doing? You want to take a picture. It makes their day. They're going to remember that forever in a positive way, and they're going to tell everybody around them. So be sure you're accessible and be nice. When you become pros, it's what we also can use for the amateur athletes, is that you have to find a balance. You use a lot of time and energy in your sport. Some people, it just grows and grows and grows, and they forget, shit, okay, my employer won't let me eat 3 times during while I'm working, so I'm going to quit my job. People do that. People break up, families break up, because it's all about me. Now, talking balance, it's not an even balance. It's not like that has to be 50-50 on both sides. So the perfect balance doesn't exist. It can't. It fluctuates, just like winter and summer and spring and fall. It keeps going like this all the time. The balance act lies in that when one of the parts start to become the heavy one, you have to feed the other one to get back in that balance. So I'd rather call it that you find a harmony. When an athlete's on the diet, 4 months before a competition, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend, if you have kids, you have to have the support of the family. You have to have their support for those 4 months. And the closer you get to the competitions, the more you need that support. But they're not going to keep supporting you if they're the ones giving it. So when the dieting is over, the competition is over, then it's your time to show the appreciation. You have to give back. Their glass is empty. You have to fill that up. So you have to switch that, it's all about me, on and off. And if you're in a relationship with somebody who's in the fitness life, you understand that that's the way it is. You have accepted that. That's fine. But don't accept that you don't get something back for that, because I know Ralph would agree with me on that one. It's not easy. Everybody around you has to respond to you. It's all about you. Oh, we can't go out to eat. Oh, I'm sorry if I have to be quiet in the morning because he needs his 8 hours sleep. So they conform more and more around you because that's what they want to do. That's how they show you support. Another story again is my good friend Sean Ray. When he turned pro, from the time he turned pro till the time he retired, he did not have one single girlfriend. He was not in a relationship. Sure, he had companions, but he didn't want to go for them because he didn't need the hassle. He saw careers after careers go down the drain because somebody was in a relationship at the same time. It's extreme, but that's what he chose. He said, well, I'm a personal bodybuilder, and he was what, personal bodybuilder for 12 years? He didn't have a serious relationship. His focus was on bodybuilding. Now that's extreme, but he was living off the sport. That was his job. That was how he was making his money. For us as amateur athletes, we have to have that balance because we're never, especially with the pros coming out now, not many can live off the sport, so you have to find that balance. And I remember in the late 90s and late 80s and early 90s, Sean Ray was on every eligible bachelor list in the United States. He was one of the most wanted single men in the US in the 80s and 90s. So what? Now he's married, he's got wonderful kids, but he's still in the sport, but he's not a pro anymore. But so the time he chose, I'm done, next step in life. One thing that I found was really important for me was that in my relationship, when the diet was going on, if my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, was leaving home at 7 to go to work, I would get up at 5 and make her food. Okay? When she was done working, she'd go to the gym and train. I would go home, clean and wash clothes, cook the food for the evening. And I did it with a smile on my face. I did it because I wanted to support her. I wanted to give her the best possibility to go out there and do the best she can. So try to take away the stress and all that stuff. But she was so much into the fitness life, and especially when she turned pro, that she didn't do anything to fill up my cup when we were done. She would put posts on Instagram and Facebook and thank everybody, friends, sponsors, training partners, gym owners, bikini sponsors, color sponsors, nails, hair. But did she mention me with one word? So that wore me down. That I pulled away and less and less support from my side because I was like, well, why am I doing this? I'm not getting any appreciation for what I do. Sure, she said, oh, thank you for doing this. But she never really made me feel like it was appreciated. So when you're done or during that, I mean, a simple thing like giving your girlfriend or boyfriend a hug and saying, thank you for making my food today. That's all you need. That's all you need. But when it's done, when the competition's over, then it's the athlete's turn to give back. So that's when you have to start. Of course, you have to still watch your diet and you still train and stuff like that, but you can go have a pizza with your boyfriend or girlfriend or a glass of wine. Go on a holiday. Okay, shit, we're going to go to Spain and compete at the European Championships. Let's have a week of holiday afterwards. Go to the beach, lie by the pool, have a few drinks. Maybe go to the gym once a week, but that's it. So that you show your appreciation, give back. Because if you do that, the next time around, that person's going to support you even more. Because they felt valued, they felt appreciated. If they don't, they're just going to pull back. You're going to have to get up at 5, make your food. You're going to have to wash your own clothes. He or she may start going out without you because I want to go have a little fun. You're always in a diet. You can't even have a beer or a glass of wine. I'm going to hang out with my friends. And everybody knows what's going to happen after that, right? So make sure you show your appreciation. It's so important, and it's the little stuff. It doesn't have to be public. It doesn't have to be plastered all over Facebook or Instagram. Do it personally. Okay? Take off work early, go home, clean the house, make food, and she comes home and like, oh, you did this for me? Yeah, you've been making my food for 4 months. You know, you don't have to do it every day. You just get that, it just becomes normal, and when you stop doing it, you're in big trouble. So, but show your appreciation, pay back in a way. If there's something you're not satisfied about, if something that's bothering you, say it. Sit down and talk about it. Don't let it develop into something big. And if you're a competitive athlete, make sure you sit down and go, okay, listen, so what are your plans for competitions this year? Well, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about this, I was thinking about this. My girlfriend competed in, what was it, 13 shows in 15 months, 16 months. 13 shows in 1.5 years. It was 13 shows, something like that. How much room do you have to go to take a weekend off and go somewhere? Holiday. Spend time with family. Go out and have a drink. Go out and party. I'm not telling you to go out and get drunk or wasted, do drugs or anything like that. You can still have a good time and not drink. But go out. Maybe your girlfriend or boyfriend gets drunk, you can carry them home because you're sober. You know, but put yourself out there and make sure that you do things that are disassociated with the fitness life. It doesn't have, I mean, life's so much more. A lot of people I've talked to feel like when they're done, what do they have to show for it? Yeah, sure, I've got some trophies on the wall. You know, I've seen some different places, stuff like that. But all they can sit down and talk about is their diet, the training, the competitions they want to do. They don't have any stories to tell. How many people want to hear about 10 different competitions when you're done? Nobody. They might like to hear maybe 1 or 2 stories from 2 different, but then they want to hear about the rest of your life. So what have you done for the last 10 years? Have you done anything else? No, not really. So a lot of people feel they wait, you know, not that they waste their time, but that they missed out on a lot of stuff. And you don't have to miss out on things just because you have a fitness life. I completely understand if you don't want to drink, you don't want to eat the pizza and stuff like that. Go out, tell the guy at the restaurant, well, I want my steak dry fried, I want my vegetable steamed, and I want my salad dressing on the side. And I'll have a glass of ice water. And then the other person, well, I'm going to have the gravy, the ice cream, and everything like that. So, you know, you can easily do that. So it can be done. It's not a perfect balance. It goes up and down, especially with us in the fitness world, because when we're dieting, it's extreme. There's no other, unless it's combat sports or wrestling and stuff like that, there's no other sports in the world that are so extreme in their preparations for a competition. Nobody. And it's not every day for 4 months. It's every day for the entire year that you're living this life. But make sure you grab a couple of days and do something else. Go bike riding, go do something. I remember when I was preparing to compete, it was really tough, and I still had a day in the week where I could eat something different than my diet. And so it was a Saturday, and there was this south of the city where I used to live, there was a monastery that made a certain kind of cake made with honey, which it's famous in all of Scandinavia. And so she told me, hey, let's go down there and have a cup of coffee and have those cakes. And I'm sure, you know, and so we get in the car, we drive, and on the way down there, she says, listen, we're not really going there. I booked a room for us at this inn so that we can be together and relax and have some time together, which we haven't had for a long time. And it still makes me sad because my reaction was, we can't. You gotta call them, cancel it, go home. I don't have my food, I have to go train. I still get sad that I chose that decision to this day. Because I could have told the guys in the kitchen, listen, I'm on a diet, you know, I have to have this amount of chicken, I have this amount of rice and stuff like that. Would you mind making me this food while I'm here? I'll pay extra for it. Training, so, okay, well, maybe Monday was my day off, so I'll take my day off today and then just train through Monday. And I would have had a wonderful experience with my wife. And it's something that you can't take back. I can't imagine what she felt like. Oh my God, if somebody did that to me, I'd be torn up. But that's how our sport is. We think this far and that's it. But sometimes it's okay to think a little further. You're not gonna ruin your shape by doing that. You're not gonna not get to the certain point with the fat levels and stuff like that by taking that extra day off. There was 2 months of competition. I could have had ice cream and cake and gravy and everything that day, and I still wouldn't have messed up my diet. So have that in remembrance. Think about that. You have a person that loves you and does everything for you, and actually wants you just to have a good time. She needs you, and he needs you to be there just for one day. Is it worth it? Worth it to hurt that person that way. So find that balance where it's a give and take all the time. But if you find that balance, you're not only going to be successful in your private life, but in your fitness life, because these two parts are going to feed each other and make you stronger. So the fitness life can actually build up the private life as well, your relationship, if you do it right. But if you don't, it's going to eat you up and it's beyond the point of no return. So find that balance. It's really, really important. To put everything in balance is good, but to put everything in harmony is better. Why? Balance is very fixed. In harmony, you allow movements. Okay? And in being a fitness competitor, we don't have to have the perfect balance. We have to find the harmony between your private life and your fitness life. And if you do that, the longevity of you and the longevity of your relationship is that's up to you. Of course, people grow apart, but don't let your fitness life take away from your relationship. Turn it way around. If you have a relationship that fills up everything, you're never going to be successful as a fitness athlete because you're not going to be allowed to have the time to do it. So that's a problem as well. So it goes both ways. But it can be done, and if you have the possibility that because the person that's with you knows, okay, well, there's 6 weeks left in competition, then we can't go do all this kind of stuff. You can still do small things that are a little off, but just remember to go out there and enjoy the process by doing small stuff together as well. You know, finding that balance, feeding each other, and when the process is over and you're done competing, make sure you switch. Show your appreciation for that person, because the next time you go on a diet, that person's going to be there even more. If you need him or her to get up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning to do something, they're going to do it. Why? Because you appreciate it. You showed her how much it meant to you, and you gave back. And then you have that harmony that's going like this all the time. So enjoy it out there. You're living in a world that's got so much possibilities, a lot more than when I was competing. So go out there and grab what's yours. Go out and make it yours. But remember to have that balance. Well, enjoy yourself. We only have this one life. Make sure that the fitness life or what are you doing doesn't take the passion away from everything else. You know, it can be so much more fun. Make it that way. It's up to you. It's your decision. Thank you for coming.